Chapter 1. Some questions are better left unasked. But me, I can't resist a dangling thread. I have to yank and pick at it until I've loosened every knot, examined it end to end, and discovered all its mysteries. This quirk gives me an edge in my tech career, but can be downright catastrophically annoying in my personal life. It's also how I ended up as an atheist. Pulling at those threads unraveled my belief in God. Any God, really. Losing my faith? Big oof. Hands down, the greatest loss of my life. Maybe you're wondering, why don't you just reclaim it? My response, if only. Trust me, if there was a way to slip back into my faith's cozy embrace and coast through life knowing I'm loved by an all-powerful, benevolent force, I'd be all in. But you see, I asked one pesky question too many. Here's a short description of what happened. Maybe you can relate. Have you ever been utterly repulsed by someone's voice? I mean, physically nauseated? That's how I felt about the character Pat from Saturday Night Live, an embodiment of weak, whiny, late-night misery. So imagine my horror when I discovered Julia Sweeney, the actor behind my auditory torment, was starring in a special titled Letting Go of God. My first thought was, where did Pat get the nerve? My second, why wasn't this heretical film set smote by a divine lightning bolt? I was raised to fear Catholic hell and later 12-step relapse, so the idea of letting go was actual nightmare fuel. Naturally, I had to watch. One night, cutting through the living room after my husband had dozed off, probably watching a football game or some world-saving escapade, I heard Pat's unmistakable voice. But instead of whining about romantic confusion, she declared herself an atheist. My brain short-circuited. First, the audacity. Second, the dread. Would God smite my TV? I hit rewind, and after watching the entire program, I wandered around in a spiritual haze. My once solid beliefs became as clear as wet cement. For a week, I tiptoed around those churning thoughts before finally asking myself, why should I fear the kind, forgiving recovery God I'd patched together? Surely he wouldn't smite me for questioning his existence, right? I whispered no to myself, but even my dogs looked skeptical. Then, after days of internal chaos, the questions that changed everything. Do I have to believe in God? Do I want to? Need to? Is faith my choice? Or just leftover childhood programming? And with that, a dangling thread appeared, and I unraveled my faith one question at a time. Chapter 2. At 24, my ex-husband raped me. After that, I vowed to never let anyone control me again, within reason. I would make my own choices, physical, spiritual, financial, and creative. I realized I'd never really chosen faith. It was just there. So I decided to review it. I was sure nothing would change. I'd stop praying and see what happened. Then I could answer those nagging questions and move on with my life. Except that's not how it went down. You see, after getting sober, I'd offered my entire life as an open prayer to my higher power. Every thought and feeling were subject to divine review and interpretation. Everything I thought, did, and felt was influenced by my beliefs. Faith, to my techie brain, had become my operating system. Getting through my day without it was as graceful as using a PC without Windows. Not impossible, but yuck, DOS commands. It took a month to realize my plan to stop praying would never give me the clarity I needed. I'd have to completely uninstall my faith-based thought patterns before making an unbiased judgment. Then, and only then, could I reinstall it. Easy peasy. Ready, set, go. Feeling certain I had the right approach, I began the daunting and exhausting task of monitoring my every thought and reaction for the influence of faith. I didn't create a backup plan, no way to reverse course in case of an oh shit, this might not work outcome. I never did that when experimenting on myself, like cutting my own hair or changing its color. I just decided I'd live with the consequences, as I always did. And God would understand, right? He'd forgive my little test. After all, my non-belief couldn't do any more damage to him than a grain of sand thrown at the sun.